Get out, rookie. Lieutenant Derek Cole's voice sliced through the briefing room. Maya Bennett froze at the threshold. 30 pairs of eyes, all judging. You heard me. This is operational planning, not basic training. Laughter erupted, sharp, vicious, hungry. Cole advanced, chest out, ego weaponized. You don't belong here, Bennett. You never will. Maya's fingers gripped her folder. Her face stayed calm, dangerously calm. Behind her ear, hidden under dark hair, a scar pulsed with memory. Classified kills, impossible missions, wars these officers would never survive. But they didn't know that. They saw weakness, a target, a mistake. What they didn't see was the truth carved into every controlled breath she took. She wasn't here to learn. She was here to destroy them. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and follow this story to the very end. Comment below with your city so I can see how far this story has traveled. Maya turned without a word. No defense, no protest, just compliance. The door closed behind her with a soft click that somehow felt louder than the laughter still echoing inside. Cole's grin spread wider as he returned to the front of the room. Sorry about that. Where were we? Captain Harris, seated in the back row, shifted uncomfortably. He'd seen Maya's file, the sanitized version anyway. Something about it hadn't added up, but Cole was running this training cycle, and Harris had learned long ago to pick his battles. Maya walked down the corridor, her footsteps measured, not rushed, not defeated, just controlled. In her mind, she was already cataloging Cole's tells, the way he puffed his chest before attacking, the slight tremor in his left hand when challenged, the need to dominate every interaction. Classic insecurity masked as authority. She'd seen it 100 times, in warlords, in corrupt officials, in men who confused volume with power. Usually she put a bullet in them. Today she'd have to be more creative. The barracks were empty when Maya entered. She set her folder on the bunk, standard issue, bottom tier, farthest from the door. The spot reserved for the least important person in the unit. She sat down and opened the folder. Inside, psych evaluations, performance reviews, incident reports. Not on her, on them, on Cole, on his team, on the entire training program. Naval Special Warfare Command didn't send Senior Chief Maya Bennett to learn. They sent her to audit. 6 weeks ago, 3 complaints had been filed. Harassment, abuse of authority, dangerous training protocols. The Navy had buried them quietly, but Admiral Carson, Maya's direct handler, had insisted on deeper investigation. Go in clean, he'd told her. No rank, no history. See what they do when they think nobody's watching. So far, Cole was performing exactly as expected. Maya pulled out a small notebook, analog, untraceable, and began writing. Not a diary, an evidence log. Day 1, hour 3, public humiliation in front of operational team. 30 witnesses, no intervention from senior staff. She was halfway through the second line when the door burst open. 3 soldiers entered, 2 men, 1 woman, all wearing the same expression, curiosity mixed with contempt. So you're the rookie, the woman said. Her name tape read Martinez. Heard Cole ripped you apart. Maya looked up, said nothing. Martinez crossed her arms. You gonna cry about it? File a complaint? No. Why not? One of the men asked. Jackson, his tape read, young, maybe 23, still had that fresh out of boot camp righteousness in his eyes. Because it doesn't matter, Maya said simply. Martinez laughed. Doesn't matter? He just threw you out like garbage. Maya closed her notebook. Did he hurt anyone? The 3 soldiers exchanged glances. Well, no, Jackson admitted. Then it doesn't matter. The 3rd soldier, Rodriguez, older, maybe mid-30s, stepped forward. His eyes were different, sharper, less certain. You're not what I expected, Rodriguez said quietly. Maya met his gaze. What did you expect? Someone who fights back. Maybe I am fighting back, Maya said. You just can't see it yet. The next morning, Cole woke the barracks at 0430 with an air horn. Up, 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 full gear in 10 minutes. Chaos erupted. Bodies rolling out of bunks, scrambling for boots, cursing in the dark. Maya was already dressed. She'd been awake since 0400. Old habit. In the field, the hour before dawn was when most ambushes happened. Her body refused to forget. Cole noticed immediately. Well, the rookie's eager. He circled her like a shark. Let's see if you can keep up. The run was brutal by design. 15 miles, full pack, uneven terrain. Cole set a punishing pace, clearly trying to break the weaker members. Several soldiers fell behind within the first mile. Maya stayed in the middle of the pack, not leading, not struggling, just there. Rodriguez, running beside her, kept glancing over. You're breathing wrong, he said between gasps. Am I? Yeah, you're too calm. This should be harder for you. Maya didn't respond. At mile 7, Cole called a halt. Everyone collapsed, heaving. Everyone except Maya. She stood, hands on hips, breathing steady. Not easy, just controlled. Cole's eyes narrowed. Bennett, you feeling all right? Yes, sir. Because you look fresh. Thank you, sir. The other soldiers were watching now. Martinez whispered something to Jackson. Harris, trailing the formation in a jeep, frowned. Cole stepped closer. You train a lot, Bennett? When I can, sir. Where? Maya's pause was calculated, just long enough to seem uncomfortable. Civilian gym, sir. Nothing special. Cole's smile was cold. Right, nothing special. He turned to the group. All right, let's see how special Bennett really is. Everyone pair up, hand-to-hand combat drills. Groans rippled through the formation. Bennett, Cole said, you're with me. The circle formed quickly. This was entertainment now. Maya stepped into the center. She kept her posture loose, untrained looking, shoulders slightly hunched. Weight distribution just wrong enough to seem inexperienced. Cole cracked his knuckles. Let's keep it light, Bennett. Don't want to hurt you. I appreciate that, sir. He lunged. Maya moved just enough, not blocking, not countering, just avoiding. Cole stumbled slightly, recovered, grinned. Lucky. He came again, faster this time. A jab-cross combination that would have dropped most rookies. Maya slipped it, barely. Cole's grin faded. Stand still. Sir? You're making this harder than it needs to be. Maya could hear Rodriguez somewhere in the circle. She's not even trying. Cole threw a heavy overhand right, real power behind it, real intent. Maya caught his wrist. Not hard, not painful, just stopped him. For 1 second their eyes met. Cole saw something in Maya's gaze that made his breath catch. Something cold, something certain. Then Maya released him and stepped back. My apologies, sir. Reflex. The moment broke. Cole shook his wrist, laughed too loud. Not bad, Bennett, but reflexes don't win fights. He turned to the circle. All right, everyone rotate. Sir, Maya said quietly. May I ask a question? Cole's jaw tightened. What? What does win fights? The circle went silent. Cole's face flushed. Experience, training, discipline, things you clearly don't have. Maya nodded slowly. Thank you, sir. I'll remember that. That night, Rodriguez found Maya in the common area. She was reading a dense military history text that most soldiers use as a sleep aid. Can we talk? Rodriguez asked. Maya looked up. About? About who you really are. She closed the book. I'm Bennett, junior officer, rookie. Rodriguez sat down across from her. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've trained hundreds of rookies. None of them move like you. Maybe I'm just naturally gifted. Bullshit, Rodriguez leaned forward. That catch today? That wasn't beginner's luck. That was muscle memory. Combat muscle memory. Maya's expression didn't change. You're imagining things. Am I? Rodriguez pulled out his phone, scrolled, showed her the screen. A paused video, the morning drill. The moment Maya caught Cole's wrist. Look at your stance, your center of gravity, your hip rotation. That's not self-defense class, that's enough. Maya's voice dropped, not loud, but absolute. Rodriguez stopped. You seem like a good soldier, Maya said carefully. So I'm going to give you advice. Watch. Don't interfere. And when this is over, you'll understand why. When what's over? Maya picked up her book again. The evaluation. Rodriguez stared at her. You're not a rookie. I'm whatever the mission needs me to be. He left without another word. By day 5, Cole's attacks had escalated. Morning briefings. Bennett explained the tactical advantage of this position. When Maya answered correctly, Cole dismissed it as textbook bullshit. Equipment checks. Bennett, your rifle's dirty. 50 push-ups. Maya would drop and complete them without complaint and without breaking a sweat. Mess hall. Bennett, you sit at that table. The one by the garbage, by the noise, where conversation was impossible. Each time, Maya complied. Each time, the other soldiers grew more uncomfortable. Martinez cornered Maya after dinner. Why do you take this? Take what? Cole's abuse. You could report him. You could fight back. You could... Could what? Maya asked. Beat him up? Humiliate him? Make him look weak in front of his unit? Yeah, exactly. Maya shook her head. That's not how you break someone like Cole. Violence just feeds his narrative, makes him the victim. Then what do? You let him break himself. Martinez didn't understand. Not yet. Blank. Day 8 brought the first major test. Live fire exercise. Urban warfare simulation. 2 teams, offense and defense. Cole put himself on offense. Put Maya on defense. Bennett, you hold the North Corridor. Alone. If anyone gets past you, the whole team fails. It was a setup. The North Corridor was the primary breach point. 3 attackers would converge there simultaneously. No rookie could hold it. Harris pulled Cole aside. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Captain. Bennett needs to learn that. The exercise began. Maya positioned herself in the corridor. She checked her simulation weapon, loaded with paint rounds, and settled into a crouch. Her mind shifted into a familiar state, the one she'd lived in for over a decade, the one where time slowed and threat assessment became instinct. She could hear them coming. 3 sets of boots, confident, loud. They thought she was prey. The first attacker rounded the corner fast, rifle up. Maya fired twice, center mass. Both rounds hit before he could react. Eliminated, the referee's voice announced. The second attacker came high, using the first as a distraction. Maya pivoted, fired from a kneeling position, caught him in the throat. Eliminated. The third attacker hesitated. That hesitation cost him. Maya rolled left, came up behind a barrier, and put 3 rounds into his chest. Eliminated. Silence. Then chaos on the radio. North Corridor is clear? How is North Corridor clear? Cole's voice. What? That's impossible. Bennett's alone there. Sir, 3 eliminations. All Bennett. Confirmed. Maya stood, weapon lowered, and waited. The exercise ended. Defense won. When the teams assembled for debrief, Cole's face was purple. Bennett, luck doesn't explain 3 kills in under 10 seconds. No, sir, Maya said. Training does. What training? You're a rookie. I've been practicing, sir. Practicing what? Maya met his eyes. Fundamentals. Rodriguez was smiling now. Martinez looked stunned. Jackson was furiously whispering to another soldier. Harris stood up. All right, let's review the... No, Cole cut him off. I want to review Bennett's background. Right now. Lieutenant Cole, Harris said carefully, Bennett's file is... I don't care what her file says. I want the truth. Maya remained silent. Harris looked at her, then at Cole, then sighed. Fine. Bennett, you're dismissed. Cole, my office. Now. Maya sat in the barracks, waiting. She knew what was happening. Harris was being forced to reveal just enough that Maya's assignment was classified, that she couldn't be discussed, that Cole needed to drop it. It wouldn't be enough. Men like Cole didn't accept limitations. They doubled down. The door flew open. Cole stood there, trembling with rage. You're a plant. Maya looked up calmly. Excuse me? Harris won't tell me who you are, which means you're here to spy, to sabotage me, to destroy my career. Sir, I'm just trying to complete training. Bullshit! Cole slammed his hand against the wall. You're too good, too calm, too everything. Maya stood slowly. Sir, you're upset. Maybe you should. Don't tell me what I should do. Cole stepped closer. I've worked too hard, sacrificed too much to let some undercover bitch ruin everything. The temperature in the room dropped. Maya's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. Sir, she said quietly, you should leave now. Or what? You'll report me? File a complaint? Cole laughed bitterly. Go ahead, add it to the pile, but I'm not going down without a fight. He left, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Maya sat back down, pulled out her notebook. Day 8, hour 21. Direct confrontation. Subject aware of surveillance. Behavior escalating toward critical threshold. She paused, then added one more line. Recommendation. Accelerate timeline. Subject is becoming unstable. The breaking point came on day 12. Field simulation. High-stress scenario. Active shooter situation in a civilian compound. Cole was team leader. Maya was designated rear security, the least important role. They deployed at dawn. The compound was a maze of buildings and narrow corridors, perfect for ambush. 20 minutes in, things started falling apart. Cole's decisions were erratic, aggressive when they needed patience, hesitant when they needed speed. Left corridor now, Cole ordered. Rodriguez hesitated. Sir, that's the kill zone. We should... I didn't ask for your opinion. Move. They moved. The ambush came exactly as Rodriguez predicted. Paint rounds exploded from 3 directions simultaneously. Fall back, Cole screamed. But he was running forward, panicking, contradicting himself. Martinez took a round to the chest. Eliminated. Jackson tried to cover their retreat but got pinned down. Cole froze. Not tactical consideration, not strategic thinking, pure, paralyzing fear. Sir, Rodriguez shouted. Orders? Cole didn't respond. The simulation was collapsing. In a real scenario, people would be dying. Maya had seen enough. She moved forward, smooth and fast. Rodriguez, suppress that window. Jackson, pull Martinez back. Harris, covering fire on my mark. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was absolute. The team responded instantly, not because she outranked them, she didn't, but because her voice carried the weight of certainty. Within 90 seconds, the situation stabilized. Within 3 minutes, they'd eliminated all hostile targets. Within 5 minutes, the simulation ended. Victory. Cole stood in the center of the compound, shaking. Everyone was looking at Maya. What the hell just happened? Martinez breathed. Rodriguez was staring. That wasn't a rookie giving orders. Maya lowered her weapon. Her heart rate was barely elevated. This had been a Tuesday for her, an easy Tuesday. Harris arrived in his Jeep, climbed out, looked at the scene. Then he pulled out his radio. Command, this is 30 minutes later, Admiral Carson arrived. Tall, gray-haired, wearing enough brass to signal exactly who was in charge. Cole saw him and straightened. Sir, I can explain. Lieutenant Cole, Carson said coldly. You're relieved. Return to base and wait in your quarters. But sir, now. Cole left, his face ashen. Carson turned to the assembled team. What you witnessed today was a command evaluation exercise. Senior Chief Maya Bennett has been operating undercover for the past 12 days, assessing leadership protocols and training effectiveness. The silence was total. Martinez whispered, "Senior Chief?" Carson continued, "Chief Bennett is a decorated naval special warfare operator with over a decade of classified service. Her record includes multiple combat deployments, advanced tactical certifications, and commendations I'm not authorized to specify." Rodriguez was shaking his head slowly. "I knew it. I knew it." "Chief Bennett," Carson said, "would you like to address the team?" Maya stepped forward. She looked different now, not because her appearance changed, but because she'd stopped hiding. "For 12 days, she said quietly, "I've watched how you train, how you lead, how you treat each other when you think it doesn't matter." She paused. Lieutenant Cole failed this evaluation, not because he lacked skill, but because he lacked character. Jackson raised his hand tentatively. "Ma'am, why didn't you stop him sooner?" "Because pain is a teacher," Maya said, "and some lessons only stick when you feel them personally." She looked at each soldier. "Every one of you felt uncomfortable with Cole's behavior. Every one of you knew it was wrong. But how many of you said something?" Silence. "That's what I'm here to fix," Maya said. "Not just bad leaders, but the silence that protects them." Admiral Carson stepped forward again. "Effective immediately, Chief Bennett will be assuming training oversight for this unit. You have 48 hours to rest and reset. Then we begin again, the right way." He left. The team stood in stunned silence. Finally, Rodriguez approached Maya, extended his hand. "I should have trusted my instincts." Maya shook it. "Your instincts were fine. Your courage needed work." She smiled slightly. "We'll fix that." Martinez came next. "I'm really sorry for how I treated you." "Don't be sorry," Maya said. "Be better." One by one, the soldiers approached. Some apologized, some asked questions, some just stood there processing. When they were alone, Harris approached. "That was brutal to watch." "It was necessary," Maya said. "Was it? 12 days of abuse?" Maya looked at him steadily. "In 12 days, I identified systemic problems that could have killed people in actual combat. Cole was a symptom. The disease was deeper." She paused. "And now everyone here knows what real leadership looks like. Not the loudest voice, not the biggest ego, but the person who stays calm when everything's falling apart." Harris nodded slowly. "What happens to Cole?" "That's above my pay grade," Maya said. "But if I had to guess, mandatory counseling, reassignment, maybe a second chance if he's willing to learn." "You think he can change?" Maya was quiet for a moment. "I think everyone deserves the chance to try, but change only happens when the pain of staying the same becomes unbearable." She picked up her gear. "Cole's pain is just beginning. Whether he learns from it, that's up to him." She walked toward the transport vehicle, then stopped, turned back. "Captain Harris?" "Yes, Chief." "In your report, make sure they know. This wasn't about one bad officer. This was about an entire system that let him operate unchecked for years." Her voice hardened. "That ends now." Harris saluted. "Understood, Chief." Maya returned the salute and climbed into the vehicle. As it pulled away, Rodriguez turned to Martinez. "Did we just get our asses handed to us by someone half our size?" Martinez laughed, shaky with relief and awe. Yeah, we did." "Good," Rodriguez said. "Maybe we'll finally learn something." The barracks felt different that night, quieter, heavier. Rodriguez sat on his bunk, staring at his hands. I shook her hand. I actually shook Senior Chief Bennett's hand like we were equals. "We are equals," Martinez said from across the room. "Rank doesn't change that." "Doesn't it?" Jackson was pacing. "She's been in combat, real combat, and we've been playing dress-up." Harris stood in the doorway listening. He cleared his throat. "Can I come in?" Everyone straightened instinctively. Relax, Harris said, stepping inside. I'm not here as your CO. I'm here because I owe you an explanation. Martinez crossed her arms. You knew. I knew there was an evaluation happening. I didn't know it was Bennett specifically until 3 days ago. Harris sat down heavily. Admiral Carson kept it compartmentalized. Said the tighter the circle, the more authentic Cole's behavior would be. So we were guinea pigs, Rodriguez said flatly. You were soldiers in a broken system, Harris corrected. And now we have a chance to fix it. Jackson stopped pacing. What happens to Cole? Harris was quiet for a moment. He's being held in isolation quarters, no contact with the unit. Carson wants him to think. Really think about what went wrong. And then what? Martinez asked. He gets transferred? Discharged? That depends on him, Harris said. Bennett recommended counseling and reassignment. Said everyone deserves a chance to learn from failure. He looked at each of them. Do you agree? The silence stretched. Finally, Rodriguez spoke. I've served under bad leaders before. Most of them never changed. They just moved to new units and broke new people. Cole's different, though, Jackson said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. What? He is. He's not evil. He's just scared. Scared of what? Martinez demanded. Of being weak, of being wrong, of not measuring up, Jackson shrugged. I've felt that way. Maybe not to his extreme, but I get it. Harris nodded slowly. Bennett said the same thing. Said Cole's real enemy wasn't her. It was his own ego. He stood up. Get some sleep. Training resumes in 48 hours. And something tells me it's going to be nothing like what you're used to. After he left, Martinez turned to Jackson. You really think Cole can change? I think we have to hope he can, Jackson said. Otherwise, what's the point of any of this? Rodriguez lay back on his bunk. Senior Chief Bennett caught a full-power punch from Cole without flinching. You know how much training that takes? How much actual combat experience? Stop, Martinez said. Stop what? Stop worshiping her. She's not a superhero. She's just someone who's been through hell and came out the other side. Exactly, Rodriguez said. And maybe that's the difference. We've been training for hell. She's already survived it. Across the base, in a small private room, Maya sat at a desk reviewing files. Not on Cole anymore, on everyone else. Martinez, strong tactical instincts, quick decision maker, tendency to follow authority even when instincts screamed otherwise. Trust issue. Rodriguez, 12 years experience, solid fundamentals, pattern recognition above average, held back by risk aversion. Jackson, young, idealistic, empathetic to a fault, raw talent undermined by need for approval. Harris, competent, careful, too careful, allowed Cole's behavior to escalate because confrontation felt worse than status quo. She made notes, not judgments, observations. A knock at the door. Come in. Admiral Carson entered. How are you holding up, Chief? Fine, sir. That's not what I asked. Carson sat down across from her. You spent 12 days being degraded, humiliated, and attacked. Nobody's fine after that. Maya set down her pen. Permission to speak freely? Always. I've been shot at by enemy combatants who actually wanted me dead. I've pulled teammates out of burning buildings. I've had to make decisions that cost lives. She paused. Lieutenant Cole calling me names? That's Tuesday. Carson smiled slightly. You know, when I recommended you for this assignment, some people pushed back, said you were too valuable in the field, that auditing training programs was beneath your skill set. What did you tell them? I told them that fixing broken systems prevents more casualties than winning firefights. He leaned forward. Cole's behavior didn't exist in a vacuum. It was enabled, tolerated, normalized. And the unit we just audited, it's not unique. This is happening everywhere. Maya felt the weight of that statement settle over her. How many others? She asked. We've identified 17 training units with similar complaints. Harassment, abuse of authority, dangerous protocols. Carson's face hardened. You're going to fix them, all of them. Sir, I'm one person. You're one person who just exposed systemic rot in 12 days. Imagine what you can do with a team. He stood up. Take the next 48 hours. Rest. Process. Then show these soldiers what real leadership looks like. After he left, Maya sat in silence. 17 units. 17 Coles, maybe. Or worse. She thought about the soldiers she'd met. The good ones trapped in bad systems. The ones who'd wanted to speak up but didn't know how. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you. Rodriguez. Then another. I'm sorry. Martinez. And another. You made me want to be better. Jackson. Maya stared at the messages for a long moment. Then she turned off the phone and lay down. Sleep came quickly. In the field, you learned to sleep when you could. The nightmares would wait. They always did. 2 days later, the unit assembled at 0600. Maya stood in front of them, wearing full fatigues now. Senior chief insignia visible. No more hiding. Good morning, she said simply. Good morning, chief, they responded in unison. Before we begin, I want to establish something. This is not a normal training cycle. This is remediation. You've been taught bad habits, dangerous protocols, and toxic leadership principles. She paused. We're going to unlearn all of it. Martinez raised her hand. Chief, how long will this take? As long as it takes. Could be weeks. Could be months. Maya's gaze swept across them. But understand this. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you effective. Those two things are not the same. Rodriguez spoke up. Chief, what about Lieutenant Cole? What about him? Will we see him again? Maya considered the question. That depends on what Admiral Carson decides, and on whether Cole is willing to face what he's become. She let that sink in. But here's what matters to you. Cole is gone. His methods are gone. What we build now has to be better, stronger, rooted in reality instead of ego. Jackson cleared his throat nervously. Chief, can I ask a personal question? You can ask. I might not answer. How did you survive? I mean, everything you've been through. How did you come out of it still believing in this? The question hung in the air. Maya was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer. I almost didn't. There was a mission. 5 years ago, we lost 3 people, good people, because our commanding officer made a decision based on pride instead of intelligence. She met Jackson's eyes. I swore that day that if I ever had the chance to stop that from happening again, I would, no matter what it cost me. And that's why you took this assignment, Martinez said quietly. That's why I'll take every assignment like this until the system changes. Maya straightened. Now, let's begin. First lesson, pain is not weakness leaving the body. Pain is your body telling you something's wrong. If training hurts people, the training is broken, not the people. Over the next 6 hours, Maya dismantled everything they thought they knew about military training. She showed them how to execute under stress without panicking, how to communicate under fire without shouting, how to lead without dominating. But more than that, she showed them why. Rodriguez, she said during a tactical drill, why did you hesitate before entering that corridor? I wasn't sure if it was clear, Chief. Wrong answer. You hesitated because Cole trained you to wait for permission, to second-guess your instincts. Maya stepped closer. In combat, hesitation kills. Trust your training. Trust yourself. But what if I'm wrong? Then you're wrong, and you learn, and you get better. She looked at the whole group. Cole taught you that mistakes are failures. They're not. Mistakes are data. What did you learn? How do you adapt? That's what matters. Martinez jumped in. But Cole always said, I don't care what Cole said. Maya's voice was sharp. Cole was teaching you to survive his ego. I'm teaching you to survive combat, There's a difference. The training continued, brutal, precise, relentless. But something was different. Nobody was crying. Nobody was breaking. Because Maya never attacked their worth, only their technique. Jackson, that approach angle is garbage. Try again. Jackson reset, tried again, failed again. Better, you're thinking now. Third time. Third time he got it right. Good, now you know what works. Next time you won't waste time on what doesn't. Simple, clear, no shame, just progression. By 1400 hours, the unit was exhausted, but it was clean exhaustion, earned exhaustion. Maya called a halt. Hydrate, eat. We reconvene at 1600. As the soldiers dispersed, Harris approached. That was impressive. That was basics, Maya said. The real work starts tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow we deal with the thing nobody wants to talk about. Maya looked at him steadily. What to do when your leader is wrong? Harris's expression changed. That's dangerous territory. That's essential territory. Every soldier needs to know when to follow orders and when to question them. Cole never taught that. He just demanded blind obedience. And you think you can teach the difference? I know I can, because I've lived it. Maya started walking. Come on, we need to discuss Cole. They walked to Harris's office. Inside, Maya closed the door. Carson wants my recommendation, Harris said, on what happens next with Cole. What are the options? Discharge, reassignment, or probationary return under supervision? Maya sat down. What does your gut say? Honestly, I want him gone. He made my life hell for months. He hurt people. He deserves consequences. He does, Maya agreed. But does discharging him fix the problem? Harris frowned. What do you mean? Cole didn't invent his leadership style. He learned it from someone. Another officer, another unit, another broken system. Maya leaned forward. We discharge him, he becomes someone else's problem. Or worse, he disappears into civilian life, still believing he was right. You're saying we should give him another chance? I'm saying we should give him the choice. Intensive counseling, real accountability, a chance to understand why he failed. She paused. And if he refuses or fails again, then discharge becomes inevitable. But at least we tried. Harris was quiet. Then, you're more forgiving than I expected. I'm not forgiving anything, Maya said. Forgiveness would mean forgetting. I'm talking about rehabilitation. There's a difference. A knock interrupted them. Come in, Harris said. A young ensign entered. Sir, Chief, Admiral Carson requests your presence immediately. There's been a situation. Maya and Harris exchanged glances. What kind of situation? Maya asked. The ensign looked uncomfortable. It's Lieutenant Cole, ma'am. He's asking to speak with you, directly. The walk to Cole's isolation quarters felt longer than it was. You don't have to do this, Harris said. Carson can handle it. If Cole wants to talk, I should listen, Maya said, even if it's just so he can yell at me. And if he gets violent? Maya gave him a look that needed no words. Right, Senior Chief. Decade of combat experience. Cole getting violent would be the shortest fight in military history. They reached the door. 2 guards stood outside. He's been calm, one guard said. No outbursts, just quiet. Maya knocked. Come in, Cole's voice said. She entered alone. Harris and the guards waited outside. Cole sat on a small bunk. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. Not physically, but the confidence, the swagger, the overwhelming presence was gone. Senior Chief, he said quietly, not mocking, just stating fact. Lieutenant, they stared at each other. I've been thinking, Cole said finally, for 2 days straight, nothing else to do in here but think. And I keep coming back to one moment, during the drill, when I threw that punch and you caught it. He looked at his hands. For just a second, I saw something in your eyes. Not anger, not even judgment, just certainty. Like you knew exactly how that fight would end. Maya said nothing. I've never been that certain about anything in my life, Cole continued. Everything I do, every decision I make, it's all noise, trying to prove something, trying to be something. But you? He laughed bitterly. You just are. Is that why you asked to see me? Maya asked. To tell me I'm better than you? No, Cole stood up. I asked to see you because I need to know something, and I need the truth. What? Can someone like me change, or am I just broken? The question landed like a physical thing between them. Maya took her time answering. Everyone's broken, Lieutenant. Combat breaks you. Loss breaks you. Failure breaks you. The question isn't whether you're broken, it's what you do with the pieces. Cole's jaw tightened. I hurt people. Good people. Because I was too scared to admit I wasn't good enough. You hurt people because you thought strength meant never showing weakness, Maya corrected. But real strength? Real leadership? It's admitting when you're wrong, asking for help, choosing growth over pride. I don't know how to do that. Then learn. Cole looked up sharply. You think I can? I think you have a choice. You can stay who you are, scared, defensive, destructive, or you can become someone better. Someone your team would follow because they trust you, not because they fear you. How? Maya moved closer. By doing the work, real work, therapy, training, accountability. It'll be harder than anything you've ever done, and there's no guarantee you'll succeed. She paused. But if you're willing to try, really try, then maybe there's hope. Cole's eyes were wet. Why? Why would you give me that chance after everything I did to you? Because someone gave me a chance once, Maya said quietly. After I made a mistake that cost lives, after I thought my career was over, someone believed I could be better. She met his gaze. I'm not that person. I'm not offering friendship or forgiveness, but I am offering you the truth. Change is possible if you're brave enough to face yourself. The silence stretched. Finally, Cole nodded. I'll try. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try. That's all anyone can ask, Maya said. She turned to leave. Senior Chief? She stopped. Thank you, Cole said, for not giving up on me before I even started. Maya didn't respond, just left the room. Outside, Harris was waiting. Well? He wants to change, Maya said. Whether he actually will, that's up to him. Admiral Carson appeared from around the corner. Chief Bennett, I need you in the command center. Now. Sir? We just received intel from another base. Similar complaints to what we found here. But this time, Carson's face was grim. Someone got hurt, hospitalized. We need to move fast. Maya felt her stomach drop. How bad? Bad enough that I'm pulling you from this unit immediately. Harris can handle the rest here. I need you at Camp Pendleton by tomorrow morning. Another evaluation? Another intervention. And this one's going to be worse than Cole. Carson started walking. Pack your gear. Briefing at 1900 hours. And Chief? Sir? This is just the beginning. Once word gets out about what we're doing, we're going to face resistance. Powerful resistance. From officers who built careers on the old system. Maya nodded slowly. Then we'd better be ready to fight. Carson smiled grimly. I knew I picked the right person for this. As Maya walked back to her quarters, she thought about Cole, about Martinez and Rodriguez in Jackson, about all the soldiers trapped in broken systems, waiting for someone to fix them. 17 units, 17 chances to make things right. She packed efficiently, minimal gear, just the essentials. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Rodriguez. We won't let you down, Chief. Maya typed back. Just don't let yourselves down. That's all that matters. She grabbed her bag and headed for the command center. Behind her, the sun was setting over the base. Tomorrow, she'd be somewhere new. Another unit, another fight, but tonight she'd given one broken officer the chance to rebuild himself, and 20 soldiers the tools to become something better. It wasn't enough, not nearly enough, but it was a start. And in Maya Bennett's experience, every revolution started with a single person choosing courage over comfort. The rest would follow. Or it wouldn't. Either way, she'd keep fighting, because that's what warriors did. Not for glory, not for recognition, but because someone had to. And she'd stopped waiting for someone else a long time ago. Camp Pendleton was colder than Maya expected. Not the temperature, the atmosphere. She arrived at 05:30, barely 6 hours after leaving the previous base. Admiral Carson met her at the gate himself. That was the first bad sign. "Chief Bennett," he said, no greeting. "The situation's deteriorated." "How bad?" Private First Class Emma Larson, 22 years old, in intensive care with 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and severe psychological trauma. Carson's voice was flat, cold, the tone of someone containing rage. Her commanding officer, Major Richard Voss, claims it was a training accident. Maya felt ice settle in her chest. And the truth? The truth is that 6 witnesses saw Voss attack her during a drill, physically assault her. When she tried to report it, he threatened her career. Carson handed Maya a tablet. Medical reports, witness statements, everything we have. Maya scrolled through the documents. Each line made her anger build. Not hot anger, the cold surgical kind, the dangerous kind. "Larson tried to report this twice," Maya said quietly. "Both times her complaints disappeared." "How?" "Voss has connections. Senator father, 2-star general uncle. The kind of protection that makes problems vanish." Carson looked at her steadily. "Until now." "What's my mandate?" "Same as before. Undercover evaluation. But this time, I want more than documentation. I want proof that ends careers." He paused. "Voss is smart, careful. Cole was amateur hour compared to this. You're going to be better." Maya handed back the tablet. "What's my cover?" "Transfer from logistics. Administrative role. Low visibility. Voss won't see you as a threat." "When do I start?" 1 hour. Your gear is already in your quarters." "And Chief?" Carson's expression hardened. "Voss isn't just abusive, he's connected. If he figures out who you are before we have ironclad evidence, he'll destroy this investigation, and probably your career with it." "Then he won't figure it out," Maya said simply. She was walking toward her assigned quarters when someone called out, "Excuse me, are you the new admin transfer?" Maya turned. A young woman stood there, thin, dark circles under her eyes, shoulders hunched like someone expecting a blow. "Yes," Maya said carefully, "Chief Bennett." "I'm Corporal Sarah Winters." The woman's voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm supposed to show you around." "Thank you, Corporal." They walked in silence for a moment, then Winters spoke again, quieter. "You seem different from the others." "How so?" "You look me in the eye. Most officers here, She trailed off. Maya stopped walking. "They what?" Winters hesitated. Fear flickered across her face. "Nothing. I shouldn't have said anything." "Corporal Winters." Maya kept her voice gentle. "Whatever you're about to say, I need you to trust that I'm here to help." "That's what they all say at first." Winters started walking again, faster now. "Come on, I'll show you the administrative building." Maya followed, making mental notes. Winters was scared, not just nervous, genuinely terrified. Of what? Of who? The administrative building was quiet, too quiet. Maya had been on dozens of bases. There was always noise, conversation, life. This place felt dead. "Your desk is here," Winters said, gesturing to a small workspace in the corner. "Assignments come through the system. You report directly to Major Voss." "And Major Voss is in charge of everything." Winter's voice was flat now, rehearsed. He runs the training operations. What he says goes. I see. Winters turned to leave, then stopped. She pulled out a piece of paper, scribbled something quickly, and pressed it into Maya's hand. Don't read it now. Wait until you're alone. And don't tell anyone I gave it to you. Then she was gone. Maya waited exactly 3 minutes, made sure she was alone, then unfolded the paper. Emma wasn't the first. She was just the first brave enough to fight back. Be careful. Trust no one. Maya burned the note in the bathroom sink, watched the ashes disappear down the drain. Then she sat at her desk and began her work. At 0900, Major Richard Voss arrived. Maya heard him before she saw him. Heavy footsteps, commanding presence, the sound of someone who owned every room they entered. You must be the new admin, Voss said, appearing at her desk. Bennett, right? Maya stood, kept her posture slightly submissive. Yes, sir. Voss was tall, mid-40s, the kind of officer who'd aged into authority rather than earning it. His uniform was perfect. His medals were impressive. His eyes were calculating. Transferred from logistics, I see. He picked up her file, scanned it. Quiet record, no disciplinary issues, no commendations either. Unremarkable. I do my job, sir. That's all I ask. Voss set down the file. But let me be clear about something, Bennett. This unit operates on discipline, order, absolute respect for the chain of command. You follow orders without question. You don't gossip. You don't make waves. Understood? Yes, sir. Good. He leaned closer, too close, invading her space deliberately. Because the last person who made waves here learned a very hard lesson about consequences. Maya didn't flinch, didn't move. I'm just here to file paperwork, sir. Voss smiled. Excellent. Then we'll get along fine. He left. Maya sat back down, her mind racing. Cole had been insecure, lashing out from fear. Voss was different. Voss was controlled, methodical, dangerous in a way that came from genuine malice rather than weakness. This was going to be harder than she thought. Over the next 3 days, Maya watched, listened, documented. She saw how Voss operated, not with obvious cruelty, with subtle erosion. He praised soldiers publicly, then destroyed them privately. He created competition that turned units against each other. He rewarded loyalty with protection and punished independence with isolation. And everyone was afraid. On day 4, Maya was filing reports when she overheard a conversation in the next room. I'm telling you, something's wrong with her. A male voice. Sergeant Kowalski, according to the door nameplate. She hasn't spoken in 3 days, just sits there staring. Maybe she learned her lesson. Another voice, younger, uncertain. What lesson? That reporting assault gets you destroyed? Kowalski's voice dropped. This is wrong, Peters. What Voss did to Larson, what he's doing to all of us, it's wrong. Keep your voice down, if he hears you. If he hears me, what? He'll come after me next? We're already living in fear. When does it stop? Maya made a decision. She stood up, walked into the room. Excuse me, Sergeant Kowalski? Both men jumped. I need your signature on these supply requisitions, Maya said, holding out completely unnecessary paperwork. Kowalski took the forms, confused. As he signed, Maya spoke quietly. If you want things to change, keep documenting everything. Dates, times, witnesses. Write it down somewhere safe. Kowalski's eyes widened. Who are you? Someone who might be able to help, if you're brave enough. She took back the forms. But only if you're smart about it. No direct confrontation. No accusations. Just evidence. She left before they could respond. That afternoon, Maya received a summons. Major Voss wanted to see her. Immediately. She walked to his office, heart rate steady. If he'd figured out who she was, this assignment was over. And Voss would walk. Come in, Bennett, Voss called. She entered. Voss sat behind his desk, looking relaxed. Too relaxed. "Close the door," he said. Maya did. "I've been impressed with your work so far," Voss said. "Efficient, quiet, professional." "Thank you, sir. So I'm going to offer you an opportunity." He leaned forward. "I need someone I can trust, someone discreet, someone who understands that loyalty is rewarded in this unit." Maya kept her expression neutral. "I'm listening, sir." "There are certain administrative tasks that require discretion, complaints that need to be handled quietly, reports that need to be filed correctly." His meaning was clear. "Can I count on you?" This was the test. Say yes, become complicit. Say no, become a target. Maya chose a third path. "Sir, I'm honored by your trust, but I have to be honest. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking." Voss's smile thinned. "I'm asking if you're a team player, Bennett." "I am, sir, but I need to understand the team's goals first, so I can serve them properly." It was a gamble, appearing naive rather than defiant, giving Voss the chance to explain himself, to reveal his methods. "The goal," Voss said slowly, "is maintaining order. Sometimes soldiers complain, make false accusations, create problems where none exist." He stood up, walked around the desk. "Those complaints need to be managed, redirected. Sometimes they need to disappear entirely, for the good of the unit." "I see," Maya said carefully. "And you want me to manage those complaints?" "I want you to understand that not every complaint deserves attention. Some soldiers are simply problematic, like Private Larson. She made accusations, serious accusations, but when we investigated, we found she was unstable, emotionally compromised. Her injuries were self-inflicted." Maya's blood ran cold. "Self-inflicted?" "That's the official finding. Sometimes soldiers hurt themselves for attention. It's tragic, but it happens." Voss was watching her carefully. "You understand that, don't you, Bennett?" "Of course, sir." "Good, because I'd hate for you to become confused about whose side you're on." The threat was implicit but clear. Maya nodded. "I understand completely, sir. Loyalty to the unit above all else." "Exactly." Voss returned to his desk. "You're dismissed. And Bennett, welcome to the inner circle." Maya left the office, her mind cataloging every word. She'd just been offered complicity in a cover-up, and Voss had essentially confessed to falsifying reports about Larson's injuries. It was enough to start building a case, but not enough to end him. She needed more. That night, Maya received an encrypted message from Carson. "Larson is awake, says she has proof, physical evidence, hidden somewhere on base. Find it." Maya stared at the message. Physical evidence could mean anything. Documents, recordings, photographs. But where would Larson hide something important enough to protect, but accessible enough to retrieve? She thought about Winters's note, "Trust no one." If Larson couldn't trust her own unit, she'd hide evidence somewhere outside the chain of command. Maya made a list of possibilities, checked each one methodically. By 0200, she'd narrowed it to one location, the chapel. It was neutral ground, open to all personnel, and Larson, according to her file, had volunteered there weekly. Maya waited until 0400, the darkest hour. Then she moved. The chapel was unlocked, empty, silent. She searched systematically, behind loose panels, under pews, in the organ pipes. Nothing. She was about to give up when she noticed something. A Bible on the altar. Well worn, too worn for a chapel that barely saw attendance. Maya picked it up, flipped through pages. Inside the back cover, taped carefully, was a USB drive. She pocketed it immediately, replaced the Bible, and left. Back in her quarters, Maya plugged the drive into a secure laptop. Carson had provided military-grade encryption. Whatever was on this drive, Voss couldn't track it. The files loaded. Maya's stomach turned. Audio recordings. Dozens of them. Voss threatening soldiers. Voss ordering the falsification of reports. Voss explicitly stating that complaints would be handled. In video, security footage from a training area, time-stamped 3 weeks ago. Maya played it. The footage showed Voss attacking Larson. No training accident, no self-inflicted injury, just assault. Clear, undeniable. But there was more. Another file, labeled simply Others. Maya opened it. A list of names. 17 soldiers. Dates. Complaints filed. Complaints buried. One name made Maya stop breathing. Corporal Sarah Winters. Complaint filed 9 months ago. Complaint disappeared 24 hours later. Winters had tried to report Voss, and she'd been silenced. Maya immediately sent everything to Carson through encrypted channels. Then she made a copy, and another copy. If this evidence disappeared, the backups would surface. The response from Carson came within minutes. Evidence received. Downloading now. Stay in position. We're moving up the timeline. Voss gets arrested tomorrow morning at 0600. Maya felt something unclench in her chest. Tomorrow. It would all be over tomorrow. She tried to sleep, failed. At 0530, she was already dressed, ready, waiting for the MPs to arrive and end this. At 0545, someone knocked on her door. Maya opened it. Major Voss stood there, flanked by 2 armed soldiers. His face was hard, furious. "Chief Bennett," he said coldly, "or should I call you Senior Chief? Or perhaps we should discuss your real assignment here?" Maya's mind raced. He knew. Somehow he knew. "I have no idea what you're talking about, sir." "Don't insult my intelligence." Voss stepped into her room. "I have friends in high places. Friends who monitor communications. Friends who told me about a certain Navy SEAL conducting undercover investigations." He smiled viciously. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" Maya's hand moved toward her sidearm. "Don't." One of the soldiers raised his weapon. "We're bringing you in for questioning. Suspected theft of classified materials. Unauthorized access to secure areas." "You won't get away with this," Maya said quietly. "Won't I? I'm a decorated major with a senator father and a general uncle. You're a troublemaker who broke into a chapel and stole from a Bible." Voss leaned closer. "Who do you think they'll believe? Admiral Carson is a mid-level bureaucrat with no real power. By the time he figures out what happened, you'll be court-martialed, and I'll be reassigned somewhere nice and quiet." Voss gestured to his soldiers. "Take her." They moved forward. Maya calculated her options. She could fight, disable both soldiers, maybe even take Voss down. But then what? She'd be a rogue operator who assaulted fellow service members. Every piece of evidence she'd gathered would be tainted. She needed to trust the system. Trust that Carson had the evidence. Trust that the truth would win. So she didn't fight. She let them cuff her. Let them lead her out. Let Voss believe he'd won. But as they walked through the base, Maya noticed something. Soldiers were watching. Not with hostility, with recognition. Someone had talked. Word had spread. And these soldiers, these people Voss had terrorized for so long, were seeing him finally face consequences. Maybe not today, but soon. They reached the detention building. Voss ordered the soldiers to put Maya in a holding cell. "Enjoy your new accommodations, Senior Chief," Voss said mockingly. "I'll make sure your court-martial is properly scheduled. Should take about 6 months, maybe longer. Bureaucracy moves slowly." He left, laughing. Maya sat in the cell, assessed her situation. She had no phone, no communication, no way to contact Carson. But she had something better. She had the truth. And the truth was already out there. Distributed, encrypted, backed up. Voss had caught her, but he hadn't stopped her. Now it was just a matter of time. At 0800, the door to the detention building burst open. Admiral Carson entered, flanked by a dozen MPs. His face was thunderous. "Where is she?" he demanded. A confused guard pointed to Maya's cell. Carson opened it himself. "Chief Bennett, are you all right?" "Fine, sir, though I'm apparently awaiting court-martial for theft." "Like hell you are." Carson turned to the MPs. "Arrest Major Richard Voss immediately. Charges: assault, falsification of official documents, destruction of evidence, witness intimidation, and conspiracy to obstruct justice." "Sir," one MP said, "Major Voss is— I don't care who his father is. I have 17 witness statements, hours of audio evidence, and video footage of him assaulting a subordinate. Move. Now." The MPs scattered. Carson helped Maya out of the cell. "I got your transmission. Called in every favor I have. Naval Criminal Investigative Service is taking over this base as of now." "What about the soldiers, the ones Voss hurt?" "They're being interviewed. Counseling is being arranged. And every single complaint that was buried, we're reopening them. All of them." Maya nodded slowly. "And Voss?" "Voss is done. His career is over. Criminal charges are being filed. His connections won't save him this time." Carson looked at her seriously. "You did good work, Chief. Dangerous work, but good." "It was close, sir. Too close." "How did he find out about you?" Maya shook her head. "His connections run deeper than we thought. We'll need to tighten security protocols before the next assignment." "There is no next assignment," Carson said firmly. "You're done with undercover work. Too risky. Too many people know who you are now." Maya felt something twist in her chest. "Sir, there are still 16 other units. And we'll handle them differently, with teams, with protection, but not by sending you in alone." Carson put a hand on her shoulder. "You've done enough, Maya. You've proven the system can be fixed. Let others carry the weight now." Maya wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could keep going, but she was tired, bone tired, the kind that came from carrying too much darkness for too long. "Yes, sir," she said quietly. They walked outside. The morning sun was bright, almost painful after the dim cell. Across the parade ground, MPs were escorting Voss out of his office. He was screaming, threatening, demanding lawyers. Nobody was listening. Soldiers were gathering, watching, silent at first. Then someone started clapping. Slow, steady. Others joined in. Within seconds, dozens of soldiers were applauding, not for Maya, for themselves, for finally being heard. Sarah Winters stood at the edge of the crowd, tears streaming down her face. "Free." Maya met her eyes, nodded once. Winters mouthed 2 words. "Thank you." Carson touched Maya's arm. "Come on, let's get you debriefed." "Actually, sir, there's one more thing I need to do first." "What's that?" "I need to visit Emma Larson." The hospital was 30 minutes away. Carson drove. Neither of them spoke much. Maya stared out the window, watching the landscape blur past. She was thinking about Emma Larson, 22 years old, just starting her career, and Voss had nearly destroyed her. "She asked to see you specifically," Carson said, breaking the silence. "How does she even know who I am?" "I told her, after we secured the evidence. Thought she deserved to know someone fought for her." He glanced over. "Was I wrong?" "No, sir. She deserves to know she wasn't alone." They pulled into the hospital parking lot. Carson turned off the engine, but didn't move to get out. "Maya," he said, using her first name. "That was rare. I meant what I said. No more undercover work. This is eating you alive." "I'm fine." "You're not. You've spent weeks being degraded, threatened, and isolated. That takes a toll." He looked at her directly. "Even on warriors. Especially on warriors." Maya wanted to argue, but she was tired of lying, even to herself. "I'll take some time," she said quietly. "Process everything. Then we'll talk about what comes next." Fair enough. They walked into the hospital together. The nurse at the desk directed them to Larson's room. 3rd floor, end of the hall. Maya knocked softly before entering. Emma Larson lay in the bed, monitors beeping steadily. She was thin, bruised, but her eyes were alert, fierce. "Senior Chief Bennett," Emma said. Her voice was rough. "They told me what you did." Maya approached slowly. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck, but alive." Emma tried to sit up, winced. "They told me about the evidence, the recordings, that you found them. You hid them well." "I had to. Voss kept saying no one would believe me, that I was crazy, that if I kept talking, I'd regret it." Emma's jaw tightened. "So I decided to stop talking and start documenting." "That took courage. It took desperation." Emma looked down at her hands. "I wasn't the first, but I couldn't let myself be the last. Someone had to stop him." Maya pulled up a chair, sat down. "You stopped him. The evidence you gathered? That's what buried him, not me. You." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "It didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. Sometimes that's the same thing." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Emma spoke again, quieter now. "Did he hurt you when you were undercover?" Maya considered lying, decided against it. "Not physically, but yes, he hurt me." "How do you deal with it? The anger, the feeling like you're broken?" Maya took a breath. "I don't deal with it, not well. I just keep moving forward, keep fighting, hope that eventually the good outweighs the bad." "Does it outweigh the bad?" "Some days." Maya met Emma's gaze. "And on the days it doesn't, I remember why I'm doing this. People like you. People who deserve better." Emma wiped her eyes. "The other soldiers, the ones on the list, are they going to be okay?" "Admiral Carson is reopening every case personally, counseling, investigations, real accountability." Maya paused. "It won't fix everything, but it's a start." "And Voss? What happens to him?" "Court-martial, criminal charges, prison if justice works the way it should." Emma nodded slowly. Then something changed in her expression. "His father, the senator. I heard he's trying to interfere, calling in favors, claiming this is a witch hunt." Maya's stomach dropped. "Where did you hear that?" "A nurse. She was talking to someone on the phone this morning, said the senator was threatening to go to the press, make this about political persecution instead of assault." Carson's phone rang. He stepped into the hallway to answer it. Maya could hear his voice rising, angry, defensive. Emma watched Maya's face. "He's going to get away with it, isn't he? Voss. He's going to use his connections and walk." "No," Maya said firmly. "We have evidence, video, audio, testimony. He can't walk away from that. People like him always do." Carson came back into the room. His face was grim. "We need to go. Now." "What happened?" "Senator Voss just filed a complaint with the Department of Defense. Claims this entire investigation is politically motivated. Says his son is being targeted because of the senator's voting record." Carson was barely controlling his rage. "He's demanding the case be dismissed pending an independent review." Maya stood up. "How long will that take?" "Months, maybe longer. And during that time, Major Voss walks free, pending investigation." Emma made a sound, not quite a sob, more like something breaking. "No," Maya said, "that's not happening." "Maya." "No." She turned to Carson. "We have 17 victims, hours of recorded evidence, video of him committing assault. You can't let bureaucracy bury this." "It's not my choice. The order came from the Secretary of Defense himself." "Then we go higher." "There is no higher, not without making this political. And once it's political, the facts don't matter anymore, just narratives." Maya felt fury building, clean, pure, righteous. "Then we change the narrative." Carson frowned. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking the senator is counting on this being quiet, hidden, manageable." Maya's mind was racing. "What if it isn't?" "Maya, if you're suggesting..." I'm suggesting we make this public. Every piece of evidence, every testimony, every buried complaint, put it all out there so the senator can't spin it. That's against protocol. We'd be violating. Protocol? Maya's voice was sharp. Protocol is how Voss operated for years without consequences. Protocol is how 17 soldiers got hurt and nobody cared. Protocol protects people like him. Carson was quiet, wrestling with something. If we go public, he said finally, we can't control the story. Media will twist it. Politicians will use it. And you'll be at the center of a firestorm. I don't care. You should, because they'll come after you. Your record, your credibility, everything you've done will be scrutinized. Maya looked at Emma, young, broken, fighting not to give up hope. Let them come, Maya said. I'm done being quiet. Emma reached out, grabbed Maya's hand. Don't destroy yourself for me. I'm not doing it for you, Maya said gently. I'm doing it for every person who ever got silenced, whoever got told their truth didn't matter. She squeezed Emma's hand. Someone has to draw the line. Might as well be me. Carson pulled out his phone, stared at it, then looked up. If we do this, we do it right. Controlled release, press conference, full disclosure, no leaks, no games. Agreed. And Maya? Carson's expression was serious. After this, there's no going back. Your undercover days are definitely over. You'll be too public, too recognizable. Maya felt something settle in her chest. Relief, maybe, or acceptance. Good, she said. I was getting tired of pretending to be someone else anyway. They left Emma's room. In the hallway, Carson made calls, fast, urgent, pulling in resources. Within 2 hours, they were at a press conference room. National media, local reporters, military journalists. The room was packed. Maya stood backstage, listening to Carson give opening remarks, explaining the investigation, the evidence, the systematic abuse. Then he said the words that changed everything. And now, I'd like to introduce the person who risked everything to bring this to light. Senior Chief Maya Bennett. Maya walked out. Cameras flashed. Questions erupted immediately. She stood at the microphone, took a breath. My name is Senior Chief Maya Bennett. I've served in Naval Special Warfare for 12 years. During that time, I've conducted missions I can't discuss in countries I can't name. I've been shot at, blown up, captured, tortured. She paused. But the hardest thing I've ever done was watch good soldiers get destroyed by bad leaders and stay silent. The room was dead quiet. 3 weeks ago, I went undercover at a joint military base in California. My mission was to evaluate a training unit after complaints of harassment and abuse. What I found was systematic corruption. An officer who used his rank to terrorize subordinates, who falsified reports, who physically assaulted a soldier and tried to cover it up. She let that sink in. That officer is Major Richard Voss, and he isn't unique. He's part of a pattern, a culture that protects the powerful and silences the vulnerable. Maya's voice hardened. That ends now. Questions exploded. Maya answered them methodically, carefully, always bringing it back to the evidence, the facts, the system that needed to change. A reporter raised her hand. Senior Chief, Senator Voss claims this is political persecution. How do you respond? I respond with video evidence of his son committing assault, audio recordings of him ordering cover-ups, testimony from 17 soldiers who were harmed. These aren't politics, these are crimes. Another reporter. What do you want to happen now? I want accountability. I want every soldier who was harmed to receive justice. I want the officers who enabled this to face consequences. And I want a system where reporting abuse doesn't destroy your career. Do you think that's possible? Maya was quiet for a moment. Then, I have to believe it is, because the alternative is accepting that power always wins and truth never matters. I can't accept that. I won't accept that. The press conference lasted 2 hours. By the time Maya left the stage, the story was everywhere. National news, social media, front page. Senator Voss tried to respond, called it a smear campaign, insisted his son was innocent. But then something happened. Other soldiers started coming forward, not just from Voss's unit, from across the military, dozens, then hundreds, sharing their stories, their buried complaints, their silenced voices. The floodgates opened. Within 72 hours, the Department of Defense announced a comprehensive review of all harassment complaints filed in the last 5 years. Congressional hearings were scheduled. Reforms were promised. Maya watched it unfold from a hotel room, overwhelmed, exhausted, but something like hope flickering in her chest. Carson knocked on her door. "You need to see this." He handed her a tablet, a news article. The headline read, "Military Court Refuses to Delay Voss Trial. Prosecution to Proceed Despite Political Pressure." Maya looked up. "They're going forward?" Public outcry changed the calculation. The Pentagon can't afford to look like they're protecting abusers. Not anymore. Carson smiled slightly. "You did it. You forced them to care." "We did it," Maya corrected. "Emma, the witnesses, everyone who refused to stay silent." Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Lieutenant Derek Cole. I saw your press conference. Thank you for showing me what real courage looks like. I start counseling next week. First step toward becoming someone worth following." Maya stared at the message. Cole, the officer from her first assignment, the one she'd given a second chance. She typed back, "Keep going. The work is hard, but it's worth it." His response came quickly. "So are you." Another text arrived, this one from Rodriguez. "The whole unit watched your press conference together. We're proud to have trained under you, Chief, even if it was only for a week." Then Martinez, "You taught us that strength isn't volume. Thank you." Then Jackson, "I'm applying to special warfare training. You inspired me to be more than I thought possible." Maya set down the phone, her vision blurred with tears she hadn't allowed herself to cry in weeks. Carson saw her expression. "You okay?" "Yeah, just processing." "Take your time. You've earned it." He moved toward the door, then stopped. "By the way, I got a call from the Joint Chiefs this morning. They want to create a new position, Inspector General for Training Standards, oversight of all military training programs, independence from command structure, direct reporting to civilian leadership." Maya looked up. "That's good. That's what we need. They want you to run it." The words hung in the air. "Me? You've proven you can identify problems, document them, fix them, and you've got the credibility now. The soldiers trust you. The public supports you. Politicians are afraid of you." Carson smiled. "You're the only person who can do this job." Maya's mind was reeling. "I'm a SEAL. I operate in the field. I don't do politics or bureaucracy or—" "You do what needs to be done. That's what SEALs do." Carson's tone was gentle but firm. "The field will always be there, but this opportunity to change the entire system, that's once in a lifetime. I need to think about it. Take all the time you need. The offer stands." He left. Maya sat alone, thinking. For 12 years she'd been a warrior. Missions, extraction, direct action, clear objectives, defined enemies. This was different. Messier, longer, harder in ways she couldn't predict. But maybe that's exactly why she had to do it. Her phone rang. Unknown number again. She answered cautiously. "Senior Chief Bennett?" A woman's voice, young, scared. "Speaking. My name is Corporal Jennifer Rhodes. I'm stationed at Fort Hood. I saw your press conference and I need to report something. About my commanding officer. He's been—" Her voice broke. "He's been doing the same things Major Voss did. But I'm afraid. I'm so afraid." Maya closed her eyes. felt the weight of it settle on her shoulders again. "Corporal Rhodes," she said quietly, "tell me everything, and I promise you, you will be heard." On the other end of the line, Rhodes began to talk. Slowly at first, then faster, words tumbling out like water through a broken dam. Maya listened, documented, promised action. When the call ended, she sat in silence. Carson was right. This wasn't about one mission. It was about all of them. Every soldier trapped in a broken system. Every voice that needed amplification. She picked up her phone, called Carson. "I'll take the job," she said, "on one condition. Name it. We don't just investigate complaints, we prevent them. Training reforms, cultural changes, leadership accountability, real systemic change." "Agreed. When can you start?" Maya looked out the window. The sun was setting. Another day ending. Another beginning on the horizon. "Tomorrow," she said. "We start tomorrow." "Good, because I just got 3 more calls. 3 more units with problems. 3 more soldiers who need help." "Send me the files." "Already did." Maya hung up, opened her laptop. The files were there, waiting. She began reading, making notes, planning. Somewhere in California, Lieutenant Cole was preparing for his first counseling session, learning to face himself. Somewhere in Camp Pendleton, Sarah Winters was sleeping without nightmares for the first time in months. Somewhere in a hospital, Emma Larson was watching the news and crying, not from pain, from relief, from knowing her suffering hadn't been for nothing. And somewhere across the military, soldiers were seeing Maya's press conference, seeing someone stand up, fight back, win. Maybe they'd find the courage to speak up too. Maybe they'd report abuse instead of enduring it. Maybe they'd demand better from their leaders. Maybe the system could actually change. Maya worked through the night, reading files, identifying patterns, building strategies. At 0400, there was a knock on her door. She opened it expecting Carson. Instead, she found Admiral herself, 4 stars, Chief of Naval Operations. "Senior Chief Bennett," the Admiral said. "May I come in?" "Of course, sir." The Admiral entered, looked around the room, the scattered files, the evidence of sleepless work. "You're not what I expected," he said. "Sir?" "When Carson proposed this undercover operation, I thought it was absurd. Sending a SEAL to babysit training programs. Waste of resources." He looked at her directly. "I was wrong. What you've done in 3 weeks has exposed rot we've ignored for decades." Maya wasn't sure how to respond. "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me. I'm part of the problem. I saw the complaints, read the reports, and I told myself it was isolated incidents, bad apples, nothing systemic." He paused. "Your press conference made me face the truth. We failed these soldiers, and we failed you by making you do this alone." "I wasn't alone, sir. I had Admiral Carson, and the soldiers who were brave enough to document everything. Still, you bore the brunt, the danger, the isolation." The Admiral's expression hardened with resolve. "That changes now. You'll have a team, resources, authority, whatever you need to fix this. I'll need cooperation from command, real cooperation, not just lip service. You'll have it. I'm making this my personal priority, and anyone who obstructs your work answers to me." Maya felt something shift. This wasn't just one mission anymore. This was institutional change, from the top down. "There's something else," the Admiral said. "Major Voss's court-martial has been expedited. 2 weeks from now, you'll need to testify." "I'm ready." "Are you?" "His lawyers will attack your credibility, your methods, your character. It won't be pleasant." Maya thought about Emma, about Sarah, about the 17 names on that list. "I've been through worse," she said simply. The Admiral nodded. "I believe you have. Good luck, Senior Chief. The Navy is watching. The country is watching. Don't let them down." "I won't, sir." He left. Maya returned to her files. But now they felt different. Not just investigations, opportunities, chances to build something better. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from an unknown number. My name is Private Marcus Webb. I'm at Fort Benning. Something's happening here. Something bad. Can you help? Maya typed back immediately. Yes, tell me everything. And as the sun rose over the horizon, Maya Bennett began the hardest mission of her career. Not with weapons, not with stealth, but with truth, with persistence, with the absolute refusal to let silence protect evil. One soldier at a time, one unit at a time, one system at a time. She would fix this, or die trying. Because that's what warriors did. They fought. Even when the enemy was invisible, even when the battlefield was bureaucracy instead of desert, they fought until victory, or until there was nothing left to give. Maya chose victory, and this time she wouldn't stop until she'd won. The 2 weeks before Voss's court-martial passed in a blur of preparation, interviews, and relentless work. Maya barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw faces. Emma, Sarah, the 17 names on that list, and now dozens more reaching out from other bases. Private Marcus Webb's case at Fort Benning turned out to be another Voss situation. Different name, same pattern. Maya documented everything, forwarded it to Carson, watched another investigation launch. The system was waking up. Slowly, painfully, but waking. On the morning of the trial, Maya stood outside the military courthouse. Media vans lined the street. Protesters held signs, some supporting her, some calling her a traitor. Carson appeared beside her. Ready? Does it matter? Probably not, but I'm asking anyway. Maya looked at him. What if we lose? What if his lawyers are good enough to create reasonable doubt? Then we appeal. We fight harder. We don't stop. Carson's voice was firm. But Maya, we're not going to lose. The evidence is too strong, and you're too credible. His father's a senator. His father's a politician trying to save his legacy. There's a difference between power and justice. Today, justice wins. They walked inside together. The courtroom was packed. Maya saw Emma Larson in the back row, still using a cane but standing straight. Sarah Winters sat beside her, hand gripping Emma's. Rodriguez, Martinez, and Jackson from the California unit occupied another row. They'd flown in to support her. Voss sat at the defense table, flanked by 3 expensive lawyers. He looked calm, too calm. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Court is now in session. United States versus Major Richard Voss. Multiple charges including assault, falsification of official documents, and obstruction of justice. The prosecution opened strong. Video evidence, audio recordings, medical reports, each piece methodically presented. Then they called Maya to the stand. She walked forward, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Voss's lead attorney, a sharp-eyed woman named Patterson, approached immediately. Senior Chief Bennett, Patterson began, her tone friendly. You've had quite a media tour recently, haven't you? I gave one press conference. One press conference that was seen by millions. That made you a household name. Some might say you had a motive to exaggerate your findings. For fame, for career advancement. Maya kept her voice level. My motive was justice for soldiers who'd been harmed, nothing more. Really? Because your career has certainly benefited. You've been offered a prestigious position, Inspector General for Training Standards. Quite a promotion for someone who was just doing their job. The prosecutor objected. Relevance? I'm establishing bias, Your Honor. Overruled, but make your point quickly, Counselor. Patterson smiled. Senior Chief, isn't it true that you went into this investigation with preconceived conclusions? That you were looking for wrongdoing because that justified your assignment? No, I went in looking for the truth, whatever that truth was, and you found exactly what Admiral Carson wanted you to find. How convenient. Maya's jaw tightened. I found what the evidence showed. 17 soldiers filed complaints that were buried. Major Voss's own words are on those recordings. His actions are on video. That's not convenience, that's documentation. Patterson changed tactics. You've served in combat, correct? Yes. Seen violence, committed violence. In fact, your record includes several classified operations involving, shall we say, aggressive tactics. Objection, the prosecutor said sharply. The witness's military record is classified and irrelevant to this case. Goes to credibility, Your Honor. This witness has been trained to deceive, to operate undercover, to manipulate situations. How do we know she didn't manipulate this entire investigation? The judge frowned. Careful, counselor. You're approaching a line. I'm simply asking, Patterson said, turning back to Maya, how we can trust someone whose entire career has been built on deception. Maya felt anger rise, cold, controlled, dangerous. You want to know about my career? Maya said quietly. I've spent 12 years protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. I've been shot at, blown up, and tortured. I've made decisions that cost lives and save lives. And yes, I've operated undercover. But I've never, not once, lied in an official report. I've never falsified evidence. I've never attacked someone weaker than me and called it training. The courtroom was silent. Major Voss did all of those things, Maya continued. The evidence proves it. My credibility is irrelevant. The facts speak for themselves. Patterson opened her mouth to respond. Unless, Maya added, her voice cutting, you're suggesting 17 soldiers are lying, that Emma Larson broke her own ribs, that audio recordings can be faked, that video evidence can be manufactured. Is that your defense, counselor? That reality itself is wrong? Patterson's composure cracked. That's not. Because if it is, you should say so clearly. Tell these people that truth doesn't matter, that power is more important than justice. Tell them. Objection, Patterson's voice rose. The witness is being argumentative. Sustained, the judge said. But there was something in his expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. Maya was excused from the stand. The trial continued for 3 more days. Witness after witness, document after document. The evidence piled up until it was insurmountable. On the 4th day, the judge rendered his verdict. Major Richard Voss, this court finds you guilty on all charges. You abused your authority, harmed soldiers under your command, and attempted to cover up your crimes. You violated the trust placed in you and dishonored the uniform you wore. Voss's face went white. Sentencing will be delivered in 30 days. Until then, you are remanded to military custody. Dismissed. The gavel fell. Emma Larson collapsed into tears. Sarah Winters held her, crying too. Rodriguez, Martinez, and Jackson stood and saluted Maya from across the courtroom. Voss was led away in handcuffs. As he passed Maya, he stopped. This isn't over, he said quietly. Yes, Maya replied, it is. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Maya made a brief statement. Today, justice was served. But this isn't about one man or one case. It's about a system that's beginning to change. Soldiers who report abuse will be heard. Officers who commit crimes will face consequences. That's not negotiable anymore. A reporter shouted a question. What's next for you, Senior Chief? Maya looked directly at the camera. I'm starting my new position as Inspector General for Training Standards, and I'm coming for every base, every unit, every officer who thinks abuse is acceptable. If you're hurting soldiers, I will find you. If you're covering up misconduct, I will expose you. And if you think your rank or connections will protect you, you're wrong. She walked away from the microphone. Carson caught up to her. That was quite a threat. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. A week later, Maya stood in her new office. Not much to look at yet. Empty desk, blank walls, but potential everywhere. Her team was arriving today, 6 investigators, handpicked by Carson, all with records of integrity and courage. The first to arrive was Sarah Winters. Maya looked up in surprise. Corporal Winters? Actually, it's Sergeant Winters now. Got promoted last week. Sarah smiled, but it was tentative. Admiral Carson offered me a position on your team, if you'll have me. You want to investigate abuse cases? After everything you went through? Because of everything I went through. I know what it feels like to be silenced, to be afraid, to think no one will help. Sarah stepped forward. I want to be the person who helps, like you helped me. Maya felt emotion tighten her throat. Welcome to the team, Sergeant. The others arrived throughout the morning, each with their own story, their own reasons for joining. By afternoon, Maya's office was full. 6 investigators, all committed, all ready. All right, Maya said, addressing them. Let's be clear about what we're doing here. This isn't a normal assignment. We're going to make enemies, powerful enemies. Officers who've operated without oversight for years won't appreciate scrutiny. Politicians will call us witch hunters. Some soldiers will see us as threats instead of allies. So why are we doing it? One investigator asked. Because someone has to. Because the system won't fix itself. Because every day we wait, another soldier gets hurt. Maya looked at each of them. I'm not asking you to be heroes. I'm asking you to be thorough. Document everything. Follow evidence wherever it leads. And when people try to stop us, and they will, we don't quit. We get louder. Sarah raised her hand. Chief, what if we find abuse from officers we like? People we've served with? Then we investigate them too. Friendship doesn't exempt anyone from accountability. Maya's voice was firm. This job requires integrity above loyalty. Can you do that? Heads nodded around the room. Good, because our first 3 cases start tomorrow. Fort Hood, Fort Bragg, Paris Island. All flagged for potential abuse. All waiting for someone to care enough to look. The team dispersed to prepare. Sarah lingered. Chief, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think Lieutenant Cole will make it? Actually change? Maya considered the question. I think he has a chance. Whether he takes it is up to him. But I've learned something through all of this. People are capable of more than we think. Both more evil and more good. The question is, which one they choose. And if they choose wrong, then we're here to stop them. Sarah nodded slowly. I'm glad you didn't give up on this, on us. I'm glad you didn't give up either. That night, Maya received a package. No return address. She opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter and a small medal. The letter was from Lieutenant Derek Cole. Senior Chief Bennett, I completed my first month of counseling. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Facing what I was, what I did, why I hurt people. It's like peeling back layers of infection to find the wound underneath. My therapist says I have PTSD from deployments I never processed, that I turned fear into control, control into cruelty. Understanding it doesn't excuse it, but it helps me see where I went wrong. I'm not the officer I was. I'm not the officer I want to be yet either. But I'm working on it, every day. The medal is my bronze star. I wore it like armor, proof I was good enough. But I wasn't, not where it mattered. I want you to have it, not as a gift, as a reminder that medals don't make leaders. Character does. And you have more character in your silence than I ever had in my shouting. Thank you for seeing something in me worth saving. Respectfully, Lieutenant Derek Cole. Maya stared at the medal, felt its weight, not physical weight, symbolic weight. She put it in her desk drawer. Maybe someday she'd give it back to him, when he'd actually earned it again. Her phone rang. Admiral Carson. Chief Bennett, we have a situation. Fort Hood. The commanding officer you're supposed to investigate? He just resigned, effective immediately. Maya's mind raced. He's running. More than that, he's claiming he's being targeted for political reasons. Says your team is conducting a witch hunt. He's going on national news tonight. Let him. We'll release our preliminary findings tomorrow. Let the public decide who's telling the truth. Maya, if you release preliminary findings before a full investigation, you open yourself to liability. His lawyers will what? Sue me for telling the truth? Let them try. Maya's voice was steel. I'm done playing by rules designed to protect abusers. We have evidence. We release it. Immediately. Carson was quiet for a moment. All right, I'll back you. But if this backfires, it won't, because we're right. And being right matters more than being safe. She hung up, called her team. Emergency meeting, now. They assembled within the hour. Maya laid out the situation. We go public with everything we have. Documents, timelines, witness statements. We don't wait for permission. We act. Chief, one investigator said hesitantly, that's going to make a lot of people angry. Good. Angry people make mistakes, and we'll be there to document every single one. The press release went out at 2200 hours. Detailed, specific, damning. By midnight, the Fort Hood commander's interview was canceled. By morning, he'd lawyered up. By noon, he was under formal investigation, and 3 more officers at other bases resigned preemptively. They're running scared, Sarah said, watching the news coverage. They should be, Maya replied. The old system protected them. The new system doesn't. Over the next 6 months, Maya's team investigated 14 units, found abuse in 9, cleared 5. Every case was documented meticulously. Every finding was bulletproof. Officers who'd operated without consequences for years suddenly faced courts-martial. Soldiers who'd suffered in silence were finally heard. The culture began to shift. It wasn't easy. Maya faced death threats, legal challenges, congressional inquiries. Politicians tried to defund her office. Military leadership pushed back against oversight. But she didn't stop. Because every week, new soldiers reached out. New stories emerged. New evidence surfaced. And every week, justice was served. 1 year after the press conference, Maya stood in the same hospital where she'd first visited Emma Larson. But this time, Emma was being discharged, fully healed, ready to return to duty. I'm going into advocacy, Emma said as they walked to the exit, working with survivors of military abuse, helping them navigate the system. That's good work. I learned from the best. Emma stopped, turned to face Maya. You know what the hardest part was? Not the assault, not the recovery. It was believing I didn't matter, that my truth was worthless. And now? Now I know that truth always matters, even when it's hard, even when it costs everything. Emma smiled. You taught me that. They hugged, brief, fierce. As Emma walked away, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because the work was done, it would never be done, but because the work was happening. Real change, measurable change. Maya returned to her office. Another stack of complaints waited. Another base needed investigation. Another battle waited to be fought. She picked up the first file, read the details, made notes. Her phone buzzed, a text from Lieutenant Cole. 9 months sober, 3 months in therapy, starting to lead again, correctly this time. Thank you for not giving up on me. Another text from Rodriguez. Our unit just completed training under new protocols. 0 harassment incidents. Everyone feels safe. You did that, Chief. Another from Martinez. I'm applying to officer training. Want to be the kind of leader you showed us was possible. Maya set down the phone, looked at the medal in her drawer. Cole's bronze star. She took it out, held it up to the light, then she put it back. He'd earn it again someday. She was sure of that now. A knock on her door. Come in. Admiral Carson entered. Got a minute? For you? Always. The Joint Chiefs want to expand your program, triple your budget, quadruple your team. Make this a permanent fixture across all branches. Maya felt the weight of that. That's Significant. It's a revolution, Maya, a quiet one, but a revolution nonetheless. Carson sat down. You've changed everything, not just policy, culture, expectations, what it means to lead. I just did what needed to be done. No, you did what no one else had the courage to do. You stood up when standing up meant risking everything. You spoke truth when truth was dangerous. You chose people over politics. Carson's voice was heavy with emotion. You're the leader we needed, that we still need. Maya was quiet for a moment, then, I'll take the expansion, on one condition. Name it. We don't just investigate, we prevent. Training programs for new officers, leadership development, cultural reform. We build the system we want instead of just tearing down the one we have. Carson smiled. Done. When do you start? I already have. He left. Maya stood alone in her office, looking out the window at the base below. Soldiers training, living, working, safer now than they were a year ago. Not perfect, but better. She thought about Cole, about Emma, about Sarah, about the hundreds of soldiers who'd reached out, the thousands who'd been helped, about the ones still suffering, still waiting for someone to care. She picked up the next file, read the complaint, made the call, started the investigation, because this was who she was now. Not just a warrior, not just a SEAL, a guardian of truth, of justice, of the vulnerable. And she would never stop fighting. Not for glory, not for recognition, not for medals or promotions or fame, but because someone had to. Because the system only changed when people demanded it change. Because silence protected evil, and she'd chosen to be loud. Maya Bennett had learned something in her 12 years of service, something that most warriors never understood. The hardest battles weren't fought with weapons. They were fought with words, with courage, with the absolute refusal to accept that power always won. And she'd won. Not completely, not permanently, but enough to prove it was possible, enough to show others the way, enough to know that when she finally hung up her uniform years from now, she'd leave behind something more valuable than medals or commendations. She'd leave behind a system where truth mattered more than rank, where justice outweighed politics, where every soldier, regardless of gender, regardless of position, regardless of who their father was, could serve with dignity and safety. That was the mission. And unlike combat deployments that ended after months, this mission would last a lifetime. Maya Bennett was ready for that fight. She'd been ready since the moment she first put on the uniform. The only difference now was that everyone else finally knew what she'd always understood. Real warriors didn't just fight enemies abroad. They fought injustice everywhere. And they never, ever stopped until the job was done.